Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Today we're going to get into the minor pentatonic scale. Before we get started, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell. Thanks heaps, I appreciate it. Right, now that we've got that out of the road, we've got 5 pentatonic scale shapes to learn that will allow us to cover the whole neck of the guitar. But if all that feels a little overwhelming, fear not. We're going to start with just 2 shapes, and these 2 shapes I consider the big 2. Now the first shape is commonly referred to as pattern 1. It's normally the first shape that every guitarist on the planet learns, and normally in the key of A minor. Now this shape's root note, which is the note that gives the scale shape its name or determines what key it's in, is found on the low E string, and surprisingly in the same place on the neck as our E form minor bar chord, like this one. To play pattern 1, we're going to place our index finger on the A note on the low E string, which is on the 5th fret, and we're going to follow that up with our pinky on the 8th fret. We move down to the A string and we're going to play the 5th fret, followed by the 7th fret. And we're going to continue that pattern down through the D and G strings, so 5, 7, 5, 7. When we get to the B string, our index finger once again will be on the 5th fret, but our pinky is going to play the 8th fret. And then on the high E string, we're going to do the same, so index finger on the 5th fret, pinky on the 8th fret. I'll play through that scale up and down slowly. Now the second shape is called pattern 4, and its root note is found on the A string. In this case, because we're using the key of A, it'll be on the 12th fret, and once again it's in the same place as our A form minor bar chord, like this. Now to play pattern 4, we're going to place our index finger on the 12th fret of the low E string, followed by our pinky on the 15th fret. We're going to go to the A string and we're going to play the 12th fret, which will be the root note or the tonic, followed by the 15th fret. We then move to the D and G strings and we play the 12th to 14th. Then on the B string with our middle finger, we're going to play the 13th fret, followed by the 15th fret with our pinky. High E string, we're going to play the index on the 12th fret, pinky on the 15th. Now to play through that slowly from the low E string to the high. Now remember, the root note or tonic for pattern 4 is found on the 12th fret, or under our index finger on the A string, and we've also got it an octave higher under our 3rd fret on the G string. Now once you have these 2 shapes under your fingers, that's going to allow you to play in 2 positions on the neck in any key. So we've got one low and also one high. That's going to give us some variety when we start trying to make up our own solos. If you've learned something new so far, let me know in the comments down below. Now that we have the big 2 shapes down, it's time to learn the other 3. Now we can think of these other 3 shapes as pathways that allow us to join the other 2 shapes together, which will allow us to seamlessly navigate the entire neck of the guitar. We'll look at pattern 2 first. Now pattern 2's root note is going to be found on the D string under our index finger. To play pattern 2, we're going to start, remember we're in the key of A, with our 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the low E string, followed by our pinky on the 10th. We're then going to place our index finger on the 7th fret of the A string, followed by our pinky on the 10th again. We're We're going to do the same thing on the D string, so 7th fret to 10th fret. On the G string, we're going to play 7th fret to 9th. And then on the B and high E strings, we're going to play the 8th fret to the 10th fret. I'll play through that nice and slow. Just remember that your tonic is found under your index finger on the D string. A little side note with pattern 2, the top 3 strings are often used as an extension to pattern 1, like this. So this section here, our next shape is going to be pattern 3. Now pattern 3's root note is going to be found on the A string, so it shares its root note with pattern 4. To play pattern 3, we're going to start off with our index finger on the 10th fret of the low E string, followed by our 3rd finger on the 12th fret. We're then going to play that same pattern on both the A and D strings. Then for the G string, we're going to move our index finger over to the 9th fret, and then we're going to play the 12th fret with our pinky. B string, we go back to the 10th fret with our index finger, followed by the 13th fret with our pinky. And then on the high E string, we're going to go from the 10th fret to the 12th fret. Remembering that the root note is under our 3rd finger on the A string. And we also have another root note under our index finger on the B string. I'll play through it slow. Okay, nearly done. Our last shape is pattern 5, and its root note is found on the low E string under our pinky this time, so it's sharing the same root note as pattern 1. Now to play pattern 5, we're going to start off with our middle finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string, followed by our pinky on the 5th fret. We then play the same pattern on the A string, 3rd fret to 5th fret. And then on the D and G strings, our index finger is going to be on the 2nd fret, followed by our pinky on the 5th. And then on the B and high E strings, we're going from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret. I'll play through that slow. Now that you've got the shapes down, it's time to get out and start jamming, so go for it. Now, the only thing you want to remember as a quick tip when you're starting out trying to play solos with the pentatonic scale, try and end your licks or phrases on one of the root notes in each of the shapes. For example, like this. Now, if you want to understand how the pentatonic scale works, keep watching. Now, to build the minor pentatonic scale, we're simply going to take its formula and apply it to a major scale. So for this example, we're going to go to the key of C. I'm going to use the C major scale, which if you're looking at a piano would be all of the white keys. I'll play it for you on the guitar now. And we're simply going to give each scale degree a number, 1 through 7, which is going to relate to the function of each note in that scale. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. The formula for our minor pentatonic scale is 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. So the first thing we can do is we can throw away the 2nd degree and the 6th degree of the scale, and we'll be left with this. Doesn't quite sound like our minor pentatonic scale yet. So we have to flatten, as per the formula, the 3rd and the 7th. Now flattening a note means we lower it by 1 fret. So that's going to give us this. And so you can see that's the first part of pattern 4 of our minor pentatonic scale. Now all of our 5 pentatonic shapes that we've learnt today are simply those 5 notes from the minor pentatonic scale that we just worked out, repeated all over the guitar neck in all sorts of different octaves and different places. Now last thing, you might be asking, what about major pentatonic scales? Well, to find out about those, you're going to have to join me in the next video.